Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. I am just, I'm so excited because I have an amazing guest on, and her last show was incredible. I'm talking about Mary Dee. She is known as the Joy Catalyst. She is a international speaker, which you will know in about 10 seconds as soon as she starts speaking, because man, she can she has such a grasp of the how to speak, and I'm learning from her. I mean, it's like I'm supposed to be the one that's talking, but I'm learning from my guest here because she's such a great speaker. She's a business advisor, and for over 2 decades, she's been helping CEOs and their executive suite and the companies make good strategic decisions with confidence. She has a mentorship program called COO Accelerator Summit, and that's a 12-week course that she'll do live with you guys, or it's a 3-day in-person live event. If anyone wants more information, they can text the word LEAD to 760-566-MARY. I'll let her talk more about that. But if you guys want to call in, you can call in at 631-687-5800, or you can instant feedback me. Go to caseyinstantfeedback@gmail.com. It pops up. My producer will read it, and Miss Mary Dee will respond to it live on the air. You guys seem to like that. So Mary Dee is the founder at MADLOVE Agency, and she is a business mastermind. And you know what, Casey, be quiet, because this person, this guest, will speak better than you. So guys, with no further ado, it is one of my favorites, Miss Mary Dee. Hey, Mary, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, Casey. You're always so positive with me as well. I appreciate you so much.
That's we were talking about before, and like I had to say off the air, I can see why you're so successful is because you're someone that people want to talk to. People want to do business with you because you're so positive and you're encouraging and you're just so pleasant to be around. I mean, that's an important thing in business, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm actually really glad you said that and brought that up, because there is actually a magic to that, right? We all want to be around people that make us feel good, that lift our vibe, that lift our energy. And this is a part of it. And that's for me too. Like, that's who I want to work with. I want to work with people who want to have a higher vibe and who want more positivity in their life and want more joy. And that's such a big part of it, And I look around and I see people who are like stranded in their work. They're like, oh, I'm watching the clock. How do I get out of here? This is not the thing I love, or I'm feeling uninspired by the environment I'm in. And there's no need for any of that. Like, we all have this way we can show up and contribute in full expression of who we are inside and make our work feel good and bring value to our workplace and to our homes, because it spreads. It's not just work, it's our life. Yeah. And I want people to have joy through it all.
Now, Mary, that's pretty much why you're so successful in what you do, right? I mean, you have these ideas, and you tell the audience, like you will meet with the CEOs, and you'll improve the business. Tell people kind of a refresher on what you're going to get into today.
Absolutely. So what I do is I actually help CEOs and their teams make good strategic decisions. So many times they are out there throwing a little spaghetti at the wall. They're not completely clear on vision, mission, and strategy. They have no core values. They don't know how they're making decisions. They're reacting to everything that's coming at them instead of having some systems and processes in place. Even more importantly, having the right people in the right seats. A lot of the new entrepreneurs tend to hire like cousin Joe because he was available. He's doing customer service. The dog is answering the phones. Like, if whoever can help do some of that stuff. But as we progress in business, we have to progress with our teams and the personal growth that we go through the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, all the way into the leadership piece, which is my favorite part, is when you do start to have teams and you do start to have culture. And now we want to look at that and go, okay, with teams and culture, how do I really begin to sink in and see, develop my team in the right way? And how do I set my business up for the best growth trajectory? How do we actually meet our goals? How do we decide what they are? How do we decide on a budget? There are a million and one questions out there, Casey. I'm a lifetime COO. So I have run businesses for a long time now. And I can tell you that I've pretty much seen everything under the sun. There's foundations, though, that are tried and true. But then you've got the culture that's unique to that business. And so I really help them bring those things together so they can launch the best business and put out their magic in the world. And that's what I love to do. And it fuels me, it feels good. And I love people. So that's a big part of it.
Oh.
You know, yeah, I do. I love them. And I want them to always feel that love and know that it's available for them. So that, you know, in this conversation we're having, I want to remind people, like, there's this intimacy thing that happens in business, just like it happens in life. And a lot of times people don't think of intimacy as something that happens in business. For my folks that follow me on Instagram, I'm at the Mary Dee, and I'm doing 100 days of intimacy over Instagram. And so I'm doing a small little IGTV every day where I actually pull a card, and this on fantastic intimacy deck that I got from my friends at Best Self. And wow. I love this deck because there are questions that cultivate and deepen love. And I'm like, how do we cultivate and deepen love, not just with those people who are closest to us in life, but the people we also want to draw in? And our customers are those people. So, of course, there's going to be some questions in that deck that aren't quite appropriate for the business setting.
I would assume so.
But there is also a way for us to take intimacy and say, great, this is how we develop closeness, right? Intimacy is that close bond that we feel. It's what our mother gave to us when we popped out of that birth canal. She held us close, and right away we had that bond and that togetherness. And so that's what we want to build in business, because this is where we can create vulnerability and trust with our clientele as well as with our teams. It's why you see businesses who go on a quarterly offsite, or you hear people talk about the team builders. They're to build bonds and to build closeness, because the closer we are, the more we trust each other, the more we can lean in with the right communication systems and teams. We can really build something fantastic together. And that's such a big piece of it. So that's my piece on intimacy today for folks, and why you need it in life and business.
Mary, how I know we have a instant feedback. We're going to get that in a second, but I got to ask you, Mary, how important is that team building? And is it really is it really important that there is not camaraderie? That's the wrong word, but kind of a lean on me, lean on you kind of atmosphere. I mean, that bond. Is that real important in business, or can people kind of do their own departments by themselves? How do you view that?
Great question. So what happens when people show up and operate in this kind of individual department head that you're describing is, I appreciate the level of ownership that can happen at that level by someone saying, oh, I'm going to just really own my department. We show up and do our part, and that's it. But here's the thing. Is we all got where we are, not because we just did it by ourselves. Somewhere, someone helped us along the way. And if you'll go back in time, you're going to connect those dots and see who those people were. And sometimes it's a supernatural sort of like, wow, how did the stars align, you know? And then other times it's going to be like, wow, this was my buddy from high school. Who knew he would go on to, you know, start a company and take me along with him and recognize my genius. You know, I just heard that story this weekend. Was in a seminar full of entrepreneurs, and we were sharing some of our stories.
And I want you to tell us about that, what you did this weekend. But I'm sorry, please. There's so many things I want to ask you, and I don't mean to interrupt. Please.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's so good. But yeah, I mean, really, to round out the question, it's just, we are just like our body, right? If we say our hand is just here to do what the hand's going to do, it picks stuff up, it drops stuff off, it may hold a spoon to feed us. But the mouth has to do its job too, right? It has to communicate into the world. It has to actually take the food into our mouth, and then it has to do the chewing so that our system can digest. Holistically, businesses are holistic. They don't operate just because of one function. If you have an amazing sales and marketing team, good for you, because you're probably bringing in revenue and you're feeling good about that. But if you can't deliver for your clients on the back end, oh, it's going to be a hot mess. And It doesn't matter how much sales and marketing you do, that's going to end up being a waste, because you're going to be churning through customers like crazy. Why not serve them at a high level?
I see it. I see why. I mean, these examples are just wow. I never thought of it that way, and I guess that's why people will go to marydee.com and try and get your services. Are you taking on new clients, Mary? I mean, are you doing that?
I am. I'm taking on new clients. I have a little bit of room, and I'm actually about to go into a wait list for the one-on-ones for this next quarter, because here we are in a new quarter and my folks are renewing. So I don't have too much space there. I think I literally have room for like 2 more people. So after this,
you're the when you want when you want the best, sometimes you gotta wait a little bit, or sometimes you gotta do a little extra to get the best. And Mary Dee is simply the best. So I'm not Tina Turner, but Mr. Producer, you have a instant feedback. Let's do that one, guys.
All right. We have a question from I believe it's Janice from Houston. As someone that works to empower others, what do most people you work with struggle with, and how do you help them resolve that issue?
Great question. Yeah. What do most people struggle with? I'm going to say that if I had to put a finger on the one thing, it's a level of confidence. It's the confidence because there's pressure as leaders. We all want to make great decisions. And so it's leaning into that and saying, okay, like, they're going to listen to me. So am I making the right decision here? Am I actually, leading this correctly? Like, what if I make a mistake? People are so scared to make mistakes. And what I have to say, and say it out loud, and I hope everyone hears this, like, stop and hear this. If you hear nothing else on this call today, stop and hear this. But it's okay to make mistakes, because mistakes are how we learn. The whole idea is to move forward with the decision. So take the most information that you can to make a solid decision. If your systems and processes are in place, you ideally will have some data that will help you make those decisions. So take that data, make a decision. And if you miss the mark, then learn from it, and learn fast, because the faster we learn from it, the faster we go, I see, I missed X. And then you go back and make that correction, and now you can do it right the next time. And so we want to fail fast. We want to own that. We want to allow our team to also fail. We want to say, it's okay. We're not going to boot you because you did it wrong, but we do have to reassess, and we have to learn from each mistake, so we never make the same mistake twice.
That makes confidence right there, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. And as we fail, we learn. And as we learn, we gain experience. As we gain experience, we gain confidence. And that's how it's done.
Got it. Oh, well, great explanation. Thank you. And thank you for that question. Mary Dee, you were talking before about, we were talking a little bit. You had a very eventful weekend. But before we get there, I want to ask you, because I got to know from you, how important is it for people to take risks?
Oh, it's so important. So important to take some risks. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. I didn't make that quote up, Casey, but it exists in the world, and it's a good one. It's so good because it's so true. Everything you want exists on the other side of fear. I have a fantastic example that I can give you for that.
Please.
When I was a kid, I was dragged to Knott's Berry Farm. It was my first time I was ever going to get on a roller coaster, and I was with all these kids in junior high. And I didn't want to be the one that chickened out of the ride. Like, it wasn't going to be me. So peer pressure kicked in, and I was in. But as I got closer and closer to this roller coaster was called Montezuma's Revenge. Okay. So all it does is go around and around and around, and like you're upside down and loops, and then it goes backwards and you do it again. God. So this is the roller coaster of roller coasters if it's going to be your first one. And as we get closer and closer, it's like I'm trying to play it cool, we're having conversation, but like I can hear the people screaming and I can hear like the rails go up, right? The
Yeah.
seat goes kook kook, and like the all the metal is like it's like times 10, and I'm just going, oh God, I can hear what's happening. And now we're to the front and I can't leave. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lean into this fear because it seems to me that nobody is dying. No one is falling off this ride. No one is falling out. Everyone is like kind of laughing and euphoric when they get off the ride. So from what I'm seeing, I can take a calculated risk here and say it seems like it's fun, even though it's scaring me to death and I could feel it in my stomach. Then I sit down, get on the ride, and of course, you know, the stomach is up and down and it's super fun and it feels unsafe, but really it's pretty safe. And then you get off the ride. We did it 7 times in a row.
No way.
I'm not kidding. That broke me of ever having a fear of any roller coaster for the rest of my life. Roller coasters and me, I'm like front row, let's go, hands up the whole time. You're not allowed to put your hands down.
What an amazing story. So cool. Mary, I am, man, you're something special. I'll tell you that. I mean, to take that, and you've taken that same attitude into business, and that's why you are where you are.
Absolutely.
And that's why people want to hear you speak, and they want they want to know what you know. Pretty cool, man. Thank you for that story. I liked it. Mr. Producer, you got instant feedback for Miss Mary Dee. By the way, guys, go to marydee.com. It's Mary DEE.com, marydee.com, and you can. I assume there's a contact there.
Oh yeah, they can subscribe, get in contact. There's an RFP form there, and would love to help some more CEOs create the best products, services, teams out there.
Wow, awesome. Mr. Producer, you got the instant feedback?
Yeah, we actually have a couple. We have Catherine from Boston. She asked, I'm a general manager of a retail store, and I'm having issues with my employees and gossiping. How do I realign my employees without firing any of them?
Oh, great question. Yes, the gossip train.
I want to hear this.
Ooh, yeah, that's a fun one. So there's a lot of different ways we can tackle this, but one of my favorites is showing up to that team meeting. So I'm, of course, making one assumption is that she's having team meetings. So in those team meetings, creating exercises that create bonding between the team in a way that also allows for some vulnerability. Because here's what happens. People tend to gossip because they are separating themselves from the person. They're objectifying them in a way, right? So instead of seeing someone in their, hey, this is a human just like me, someone who makes mistakes, someone who is trying to live their best life, whether I agree or disagree with their decisions, like how do we bring the humanity back to it so that we can look at someone through a different lens, right? We have to change our perspective. And sometimes that perspective is, how do I see this person as someone that I love and value instead of someone who is way over there, I'm unaffected, so I can gossip and say things about them. So if I said to you, you know, pick someone in your life that you really love and care for, you know, most people are like, oh, my grandma, I love my grandma. Great. If you could see yourself holding hands with that person holding hands with your grandma and your grandma loving on that person and that person being loving to your grandma, it would blow your mind because it would help you shift your perspective of how you're actually viewing this person who is like, oh, they're the enemy or they're just this other person. Like, no, they're a human with real life feelings. And so how do we relate and love these people who may be different from us, but how do we embrace those differences? And when we can bring it down to that level, then now we get a little more on the same page and now we have compassion. So when we open up compassion, now we're not objectifying them anymore. And instead of gossiping and saying bad things, we're more likely to shut our mouths or to keep some of those comments to ourselves, right? And also to explore the curiosity of, oh, maybe I do have more in common with this person than not. So for her, I would definitely, I'm sure you can Google some exercises. Obviously, if you're going through the COO Accelerator, you're going to get some of those things from me in terms of those great things you could take back to your team, those exercises and frameworks to build bonds. But this is one example of it where you want to be able to go in there and just help people see a new perspective and increase compassion so that we can be kind in the words that we use with each other instead of being creating separation.
Wow, I was just when you were speaking, I'm telling my producer, I mean, she's right on. I mean, I never thought of it that way, but is this common in the workplace? Have you heard this before? Is this
Sure.
It is?
Sure. Yeah. And, I would say it's even more common in those larger retail type chain stores, because you're also, your age span, your education span is just different. It's just different, but it's about showing up and how do we meet people where they're at, but still challenge them to be a better human.
Yeah.
Right. And it's by increasing compassion. It's by understand the relatability. That's the part we want to get on the same page with. We all have feelings. We're all doing the best we can. Right. We're all having our own level of challenges in our life. And sometimes those challenges, one person will be having the same challenge another person is having, but they're not showing up as this kind of vulnerable, hey, here I am. They're usually wearing a few layers of a mask.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what the world has taught us. It's like, oh, you got to show up and wear these couple layers of masks. Don't let anyone see who you really are, because what, they might not like it. It's like, no, how do we actually be that person that says, please show up as you are and let me just accept you the way you are, even though we might be different.
Hey, Mary, can gossip, can it be for maybe the wrong words here, but can it be like a cancer in the workplace? Can it really affect?
That's actually exactly the right word for it. Yeah, for sure it can. For sure it can. It can really tear people down, and it's like a catty. I'm trying to give you some good words to describe what it does to an organization, but it really does break down the team. It breaks down culture. It just adds this layer of complication that is so unnecessary. It's just super unnecessary.
Is it almost like negativity where it can spread to people that you didn't really think would go there, but all of a sudden now it's kind of, if you don't stop it, if you don't bring someone like you in and, with the exercise and stuff like that, can it really spread and really do damage? Because,
Sure.
Yeah, wow.
For sure it can. Yeah, the businesses have definitely fallen through gossip, and this is, organizations, you name it. I mean, come on, there's tabloids out there that wouldn't be making the money they're making if they weren't all gossip. Sometimes people are really addicted to the drama.
Yeah. So
it's important to nip that in the bud as quickly as possible.
Wow, another great one. Thank you for that, guys. Mary Dee, man, if you're a CEO and you don't get in touch with Mary Dee, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Were you telling me we have another instant feedback?
Yes.
People love her, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. We have Francine from Vermont, and she asked, I assume it's a woman, you said earlier in the show that as a successful leader, you have to be willing to fail. Do you also teach leaders how to fail well?
Absolutely. This is where we want to create the frameworks for success that we know work. Also, we want to create alignment with your core values in your business. So when we do that, for example, if I'll give you guys a great one. So I sit as the chair of the board for thebreasties.org. It's thebreasties.org. If you feel compelled to give, please do. They're a fabulous organization that supports young women affected by breast and reproductive cancers.
Okay.
So one of our core values has to do with protecting our community, meaning do no harm. And when it comes to do no harm, that actually goes to the essence of, for example, if a large retailer came to us and said, hey, we would love to gift you and your organization millions of dollars in lipstick. And you think, oh, what a great fun gift to give, once a year or something like that. But the problem is if that lipstick is toxic, meaning the ingredients are carcinogenic or have been known to cause cancer, obviously that's not something we would want to give to our community. And so we would have to say no. We'd have to turn that down. And so that helps us make good decisions as an organization because it's a core value. So every time someone comes through the door and says, we want to give you this, or we want to donate this, we have to look at it and go, does that match our core values? That helps become a little bit of a North Star for us so that we can make better decisions. Might we make a failing decision in there somewhere? I don't know. What if some company comes and they're like, well, we're 99% organic. Right now, this becomes a little bit more about, ooh, like, do we, don't we? How do we make good decisions? And so there's layers you can put in place so that you, even if you do fail, you are at least on the right track, better than just flipping a coin and going, well, I hope we make this decision and it goes well. You want to create a few layers. So core values is one of them. There's a couple more in there I could go into, but again, you can join us for the course.
Mary, it goes so fast with you. It's just you have so much knowledge, and I really, I said it before, I can't say it any more times, but I do understand why you're in such demand, and I can see I can envision what you do for companies when they decide to work with you, or you decide to work with them. Yeah, really, it's pretty impressive. That's what I'm saying. I usually not at a loss for words, but sometimes you just nailed this one big time. Mary Dee, guys, I want everyone to go to Mary Dee with 2 E's, marydee.com. Mary, we're over time here. Yes, he's giving me the stink eye. But Mary Dee, as my grandmother used to say, you have the floor. So anything you want to impart with us or let us think about until next time, I can't wait till I talk to you again. I want to hear every word that comes out of your mouth. Mary, you have the floor.
Only if you want to create better leaders that make better decisions, then let's get on board. Let's get you aligned. You have so many avenues for giving your people the help, even if you're not the CEO. If you're like, wow, I'm a first-time CEO, or this is new for me, just know there's a place you can send your team. There's a place you can come and learn from someone who has done this for many, many years and has seen pretty much everything under the sun, and get the help that you need. It's available to you. It's available. And so it's just breaking down where that availability lies and that alignment, and we go from there. So I make it easy. You text to 760-566-MARY. That's 6279 for any of you writing that down. That's 760-566-MARY. You can reach right out, and our automated system there will actually get you some information that you need, and would love to set up time and help create amazing leaders that make great decisions.
Wow. Or go to marydee.com. You can get some information there too. Mary Dee, you're a great guest. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to speak to you again. So guys,
thanks, Casey.
Like I said, go to marydee.com, and that number is 760-566-6279, and we will be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.